Welcome back to the Renewed Mind podcast for yet another episode on mental health. My name is Ruth, and today we are going to address the question: do you really need therapy? Dear friend, have a seat and let's talk. So, this is my story. I also didn't think that I needed therapy. For me, how I found myself in a therapy room was that I needed to pursue something to deal with mental health. And when I approached the institution, one of the compulsory things that was needed is that you have to go through therapy. For their idea was like, you cannot handle a client while you're not okay. So first, we have to ensure that you are okay for us to release you to go and handle other people. And I said okay to it. So in my mind, I was like, when I go to the therapy room, the therapist will give me advice. They will give me solution to what I am going through. I'll just be talking. They'll just be giving me any. It's like being spoon fed. I say this, okay, this is the problem. Then go and do this. But unfortunately, it wasn't that way. It was quite different. Of which now that is what like really made me love therapy. And I usually like try to look it as though my therapist used the person-centered approach. And in the person-centered approach, it assumes that every person has the ability to get themselves out of what they are going through. And so in this therapy session would come, we sit, I talk, my therapist, she listens to me, then she gives me the space to reflect on myself. And through those questions, at first I was not really understanding the process, but through the questions, the magic would start beginning like when I go back home, I would start reflecting, how was the therapy session today? With time, I began to see some change. I start noticing things that I was not noticing before. Like that self reflection, that moment that she allowed me to think about it, that moment that she asked me a question that triggered me to look deep within me, like that was my moment of change. That is when I began to realize things. That is when anything started to unfold. Hey, and let me tell you, I thought I was okay until I knew I wasn't okay. The moment that we started therapy, you see, there are so many things that I had carried. I'd carried bitterness. I used to keep grudges. Like there is so much weight that I had carried. And it's so unfortunate that I had not considered therapy. I considered myself okay. But now I'm here in therapy and I'm like, why? Why am I even carrying all these things? Why am I even burdening myself? And the funny part was the moment that now I said to open up, I was feeling like, but it's the other person who hurt me. Like now, why should I work on myself and not the other person? Until to some extent, I was feeling like asking my therapist, Kwani aren't you seeing? Uoni like this other person hurt me. But it's like you see like therapy tries to bring you back to it tries to bring you back to yourself. So so for me she was like, let's just forget about the other people. Let's work on what is affecting you, on what is dealing with you right now. The other person, you might concentrate so much on the other person and they'll never work out. But for what you are able to work out on yourself, that is what we are going to work out on. And it reached a point and I'm like, I feel like dropping this therapy. If now like it's me who is seeing, like, how am I going to put it? Kinda it tries to show you how like selfish you are to yourself. For lack of a better word, allow me to use that. Like the moment I started realizing, the more I'm keeping this bitterness, the more I'm keeping this hatred, I'm not hurting the other person who hurt me. I'm only hurting myself. And the time I took to reflect, like deep within me, I would feel like I want peace. Deep within me, I would feel like I want to get off this burden. And with that time, I began working on myself. I began releasing all those things, talking to myself, like journaling the things, allowing myself to feel what I was feeling, and allowing myself to go through that therapy session. Until there's a time that we start with my friends whom we had begun the therapy session together, and we are like, I feel some sort of a weird feeling, not weird in such, but in a such, but like we were questioning why do I feel like I'm becoming I don't care in a good way though, because we were like the things that used to burden us, the things that we used to care so much, they're no longer they're no longer like we no longer care about them that much. They no longer enslave us the way they used to do. But there's another aspect of ourselves that we were realizing. There's another freedom that we were getting when we started releasing these burdens. And it's a journey that I have like really enjoyed. And looking back, I can say that it's really something that I would really recommend everyone to go through. And there's a day I just sat and reflected. There's a time I was praying and I'm like, God, I want to change this thing. I feel like this thing is usually really not good and I really want to change it. And now looking back, I'm like, God answered this prayer through me going to therapy. There are things I have worked on, things that I used to go and cry to God. I got this thing. Hii character sipendi venye this thing is going. And I used to tell God to change me. Until now when I have gone to therapy and those things no longer trouble me anymore, I'm like, God answered that prayer. And it made me see even how like God answers prayers in so many different ways. And also allowing me to understand that even God using someone, it is still Him answering prayers. It is still Him who is doing His work. So in all these things, He gets the glory. Now, back to back to our therapy and why we need therapy. For me, I feel like therapy has introduced me to a part of myself that I either ignored or I didn't know. It has made me like embrace myself. It has made me know myself. And each and every day I'm like, I want to know something new about me. I want to explore myself more and more. And the new version that it creates, you're like, wow. And there's a time actually we were telling our therapist, like, I wish I'd started these things early. Because we were feeling like we wasted so much time on things that even like didn't really matter. We wasted time carrying a lot of burdens, a lot of things that when you look back, you're like, what was I even doing? Why was I wasting my time and energy on that thing? And the more it helps you to be more self-aware, to acknowledge yourself, to embrace yourself, to do the hard conversations that we rarely do with ourselves. And that's why, like in our first episode, it was like writing a letter to ourselves, like allowing ourselves to reflect and to try to judge and see, are we really okay? So that was the idea behind even doing our first episode, that where we sit down with ourselves and try to ask ourselves all these questions that we rarely do. And that is what therapy introduces you to. Therapy introduces you to yourself. It allows you to talk to yourself. It allows you to reflect. It allows you to work on yourself, introducing you to a better self, a self that you will love, a self that you will acknowledge. Like deep within you, your inner self craves for peace. But unfortunately, sometimes it becomes hard to enjoy this peace because of the things that we have gone through, the childhood traumas, the the people who have messed us with us. Yani, there's so much in life that can really make us not to enjoy life. Actually, okay, I've said that and I remember there's a time I was reflecting and I was like, it's so easy to enjoy life. If we get off these burdens that we keep carrying, if we deal with ourselves, if we understand who we are and we be more self aware, then life becomes easy. Doing life becomes something sweet. Because the moment that even the troubles come, With therapy, you're able to get a better coping strategy. It creates the resilience. It allows you to meet life in a different perspective, to appreciate every step, everything that involves life. But the most important thing is therapy introduces you to yourself. Like you're sitting with yourself. Let's talk. What is this conversation that I have ignored? What is this thing that I have ignored? That is what therapy does to you. And no one ever sees they are not okay. Sometimes we assume that therapy is for people with mental disorders, someone who is feeling depressed, someone who is feeling stressed. But even you who thinks you are healthy, you also need therapy in a way. Like therapy is for everyone, it's not for specific people. And it's a journey that I would really encourage each and every one of us to walk. If you haven't considered therapy, then I would really encourage you to consider it. Now, another mistake or another yes, another mistake that people make is assuming that friends and family will help them. That is like them acting as a therapist. One thing about friends and family is that these people are not trained. That is one thing. And again, even you will want them to tell you what you want to hear and not what you need to hear. Friends can deceive you at some point. They might not really understand. They might not really question you on those things that you're doing, on your behavior. Like at some point it can be a sort of a fear. Like if I tell her this, then I don't know how she will react. But going at least to a more professional person, that will be better. And a friend's talk is a casual talk, which is okay. But if you want a deeper change, if you want like a deeper therapy, then I'd really recommend you to seek a professional guidance. And I want to assure you that it's a journey that you're going to enjoy. But again, it has to be within you that you want the journey, that you want to change. Because not unless you have decided within you that I want to change, I want to improve on this thing, then even you can go for the therapy and the therapy doesn't work for you. So it has to come from within that I want to change this thing. And in the moment where you found yourself that you had not planned, like I found myself, then look for a way how to adapt into the thing and how to look for positivity in it. It's a journey that is worth it, and it's a journey that you're going to really enjoy it. And the moment you realize it, you will start seeing how free you are, like how you no longer carry so much burden, and life will become sweet for you. I'll really recommend it to every one of you. I have walked it, and it's worth it. Thank you everyone for following. I hope this topic has been good, and I hope that maybe I have answered some of your questions that you really heard about therapy and some of the maybe myths and misconceptions of therapy. And I hope that it's a journey that you're going to consider taking, for it will really help you and it will really make you grow. This is the Renewed Mind podcast where we major on mental health, and it's a journey that we are taking in working on ourselves, in allowing ourselves to grow, allowing ourselves to heal, to learn, and to be better human beings. So, thank you everyone for always coming back. Remember to like, to share, and to subscribe. Make our work to keep going and to keep impacting more and more people. Thank you, everyone, and see you next time in yet another episode on Matters Mental Health.